If we look at some of the longer term issues, I think here I would divide this into sort of two areas. One, what's happening in education, and two, what business needs to do. I think with education, the first thing that needs to happen is that educators need to recognise their role as the providers of the skills base in Ireland. And I don't think this always happens. I think third level institutions do have a very broad role. It is not just to provide the skills base, but it is also to provide that skills base. And the educational establishments really need to embrace that role. And I think those that are slow to do so might become somewhat peripheral. Those that are more agile and adept, and we might be looking at the institutes of technologies here rather than the universities, I think will flourish. And as the way funding is changed to universities, becoming more reliant on the corporate sector, I think we'll see this accelerate. And I think the educational establishment should embrace this. We'd like to see, there is already some aspects of good collaboration between educators and business. We need more of that, because when you do look on the continent, they are better at it than we are here. So we need great collaboration between business and educators. If you go to Switzerland, which has a similar issue with skills to Ireland, they have a high skills industry such as pharmaceutical and IT and financial services, similar to we have here. 66% of Swiss students are following a vocational education, and 43% of the top academic achievers in Switzerland follow that vocational route. So this is a model that we don't have here in the same way that they do in Switzerland. If you look at Germany, the Minister talked about Germany. Germany is often held up as an example of the apprenticeship scheme and the success that has with business collaborating with schools and universities. And if you go through an apprenticeship scheme in Germany, you spend 50 to 70% of your time in the workplace. This means that when you come out of your apprenticeship, not only are you job ready with the skills to do the job in hand, but you are business ready. You have the savvy to be able to operate in a business environment. And a common complaint of employers here, when they look at the graduates that Irish universities are producing, is that they might be academically able and theoretically capable, but they don't have the life and business skills to apply to their work as of day one. So I think there's a job of work to be done looking at these sorts of models. If you look at in France you can do a master's program on a one-day-a-week basis, spending the other 4 days a week in employment. So again, at the end of your program, you're job and business ready. So I think there's some work to do to look at the structure and format of our educational programs, which will assist in producing this wider skills base. And what does business need to do? Well, I think business needs to embrace its role in broadening and creating this skills base. It cannot rely just on the educational establishment as a sort of factory produce the people that they want. They have a role to play as well. And I think the first thing that needs to happen is that there needs to be something of a sort of cultural change in business. I think one of the key issues that businesses are facing all across Europe is this demographic imperative. If you talk to the recruiters in our office, they'll tell you that virtually every job spec they get has a sort of hidden agenda of must be aged between 25 and 35, maybe 45. And this is completely ignoring the talent of our youth and the talent of the older generation. And I think this age issue is absolutely critical. And until age becomes as important an issue on the diversity agenda as gender and race has been, then we aren't going to successfully tackle this issue. So businesses need to broaden their minds and broaden the scope of what they're looking at. And they need to develop a learning culture. Again, too often we see job specs that come through, and if you don't meet 9 out of the 10 criteria, you don't get hired. Maybe the WhatsApp guy didn't meet the 9 out of 10 criteria for Facebook and didn't get hired. So we need to develop this culture of recruiting for potential, not recruiting for current skills. So there are a number of challenges here, but I think there is some encouragement. Ireland arguably has led the way globally in the attraction and development of employment. I think we need to restate that ambition now, and our aspiration should be to lead the world globally in the attraction and development of talent. I think if businesses and educators and the state collaborate and work effectively to get together, that is an aspiration that we can achieve. Thank you.